October 25th, 2022, a Reddit user went onto the RIB subreddit and posted the following. My cousin was trafficked to Myanmar. Second time posting this because I forgot to switch to an alt. He went for a job interview to be a translator in Bangkok. When he landed there, he was kidnapped and kept in prison for about 3 days. The only reason his mom knows is because he called her through the scam phone to tell her about everything. My aunt has been in contact with the ministers and NGOs to help bring him back, to no luck so far. What do we do? This is terrifying. OP's cousin is being forced to work in a call center in a foreign country. OP and their cousin were originally from Malaysia, and Bangkok is only about 900 miles from there. But after being kidnapped, OP's cousin has ended up 1,600 miles away from their family. Reddit was quick to offer advice. There might be some names you could contact and ask for advice in this article. It's a recent ProPublica expose on human trafficking to scammer call centers. You can try contacting the journalist who wrote the story on his email provided there, and see if he can provide you with any contacts, or the rescuer from Hong Kong. Good luck and be careful. This Redditor provided a link to an article about these call centers. According to the article, human traffickers are increasingly using their cyber scamming to exploit and profit from their victims. This phenomenon has only recently come to light in the US, with the most widely used technique among these operations being known as pig butchering. This technique involves setting up fake job postings and recruiting vulnerable individuals, often undocumented immigrants, to work as money mules in a scam operation. The victims are then forced to open bank accounts, which are often used to launder money obtained through the online fraud. These trafficking rings often use violence and coercion to keep their victims in line, with some victims being threatened with physical harm to themselves and to their families if they try to leave. As terrifying as it might sound, this could be a good explanation as to what's happening to the OP's cousin. Bo_Buffett replied with, "Your cousin was kidnapped to make scam phone calls? We know about the interview, but you need to be able to describe for whoever will investigate what nationality he is, and what languages he speaks, and what language the scam call center is using to call people. Are they calling Thais? The US? If you can still communicate, you need to establish where in Bangkok he was kidnapped. Your country's embassy needs to know this because they need to put out an alert that people from your country are being kidnapped to work in Myanmar. If you want to get him back, I think the easiest way is to offer a ransom. The problem with the ransom is that it's easy for them to collect the money, but not to get him back." The article shows that someone was asked for roughly around $12,000 for a ransom, but it doesn't say if they paid or if they got him back. The other thing to do in the meantime is research. This search shows how common this is. I had no idea. Determining his location is important. This article mentions people being trafficked to an area called Shui Koko. The potentially good news is that this area is right around the border from Thailand. It's good that he's not somewhere deeper in. The commenter is helpful, but the OP hasn't mentioned anything about offering a ransom for their cousin, and there doesn't seem to be a direct form of contact from the kidnappers to the family. OP replied with, "From what I've heard, he is at Shui Koko. Regardless, nothing can be done by NGOs or ministers. At least that's what they told my aunt. Embassy is also not responding, so we were trying to get in contact with an old Thai general that might be able to help. Edit, he was kidnapped from the airport in Bangkok." OP would later discover that their cousin was actually in Myawaddy, and another Reddit user would also comment, "There's this NGO called Malaysia International Humanitarian Organization that's been making news lately about this issue. Don't bother to contact them, just a bunch of political clowns. Call Datuk Seri Michael Chong of MCA Public Complaints Bureau. He's been very effective in rescuing victims so far. Has rescued a few dozen people already. He's even got a guy there on the grounds." OP's response was, "My aunt has reached out to Daku Seri Michael Chong already, but so far there's nothing much that can be done. Right now, she's getting in contact with an old retired Thailand general who might be able to negotiate with them." Edit on Michael Chong. Apparently what she was told by him was that he's as good as dead. Many other Redditors would also give their advice, but it looks as if OP has already done everything they can, from contacting state officials to ministries and even retired military, all of which have been little to no help. And that's pretty much it. No other updates have been posted by the OP, so we have no way of knowing if their cousin can or has been rescued. We can only hope that their cousin returns safely, but as of the time of this recording, it's been 5 months, and until OP posts again, the situation remains unresolved. November 20th, 2022, a now deleted user posted the following on the RIB subreddit. "Why is this person waving a white cloth at their window? This is probably totally absurd and I'm sorry about that. There's a person across the alley waving a white cloth outside their mostly shut window and has been doing it for 2 hours. I can't see anything but the white cloth in their hand. The rest of the window is covered up. I live in a bad neighborhood, one of the worst in Chicago, not semi-bad. There are shootings almost every day. My first thought was some weird gang thing, but I wrote it off as being paranoid and dumb. I also thought maybe it was someone trying to signal for help. 2 straight hours? That's very strange. Can anyone come up with an answer for this? They also provided this picture. Multiple Redditors immediately told the OP to call the police, stating that it could be somebody asking for help. The OP agreed and called them, and as the situation unfolded, the OP kept us updated. Called the cops, they're on their way. Okay, the police are finally here. They're going up the fire escape. They hit their shoulder against the door really hard and it opened. They're now leading a woman down the fire escape and into a cruiser. One of them told me that a particular man living in that unit is in and out of jail all the time. But that's unfortunately all the information I could get. I'm glad she's okay, and I hope she doesn't go back. The lady was crying pretty hard. I feel so bad for not taking action earlier. If there's any articles about this tomorrow, I'll post them on here. Now, I wasn't able to find a link to an article, but the OP would give us a final update on the situation. I called my local precinct today and asked what happened. I talked to one of the 6 officers that came out and helped. I unfortunately didn't get much information other than she and her daughter, who I didn't see last night, are safe. I'm starting to realize there may not be a news article. This happened in West Garfield Park, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. If there was an article for every single day a crime was committed, every newspaper would be as long as Crime and Punishment. But if there is any additional information, I will be absolutely certain to post here. I'm in West Garfield Park because I'm taking care of a sick relative, not because I want to live here. Just addressing the "why does she live in West Garfield Park" statements. Thanks everyone for the awards. I hope you have a great day. We may not know everything that happened, but hopefully the OP took that woman out of an abusive situation. The white cloth she was waving out the window may have been her only way of signaling for help, so it's a good thing that the OP noticed and took action. This next post was uploaded over 4 years ago, December 6, 2018. User Schmitting the Bed went onto the Let's Not Meet subreddit and posted the following. Former coworker is still my neighbor. Summer 2017, I was working at a pharmacy. I had been there for 4 years. A new staff pharmacist around my age was hired. He seemed odd, but I was nice to him because everyone else was rude to him immediately, and I felt bad. He asked me way too many questions. Some I answered and others crossed boundaries. Fast forward a few months later, and my mom and stepdad told me they met our new neighbor. My mom said he seemed like a really nice young man. The next time I worked with him, I asked if it was him, and he said no. I let it go for a little bit. Then another time, he started asking me questions describing my backyard and asking if my street name started with a letter it did. So he admitted it was him. I asked him how he knew it was my house. He said he saw me in the backyard. He decided not to say anything to me. This is weird. Why lie about moving next to somebody you work with almost every day? Keeping up with the lie not only at work but at your own home sounds exhausting. And all of this to eventually admit that you do live next to the person is pretty odd, to say the least. OP continued with their post. The next few months were weird. I was still friendly with him as a coworker, but he crossed some boundaries. He knew my birthday was coming up, and my brother was asking for ideas as to what to get me. I wanted a certain phone case, so I was browsing on my phone to send my brother links of the ones I wanted. He would always look over my shoulder when I was on my phone. He saw the type of phone case. He got me the phone case and a $150 loaded Visa gift card. I told him that I felt the gift was inappropriate and probably against company policy. I walked over to his mailbox while he was at work to return it. He kept putting it back in my mailbox with messages of him begging me to accept it because it made him so happy. I ended up giving it away. Not much longer after that, I took my coworker to the zoo. I had some of it on my Snapchat story. He kept messaging me on Snapchat asking questions about it, and it was bothering me, so I blocked him. After that, he called my mother and told her that he needed to talk to her. He told her that he needed to come over and talk to her, so she invited him in and they talked. I was very alarmed by this, but she thought it was endearing. I told him once again at work that he crossed boundaries, and he said that he does everything he does because he cares about me. He didn't understand where I was coming from at all. This is obsessive behavior. OP's coworker is showing signs of being controlling, seemingly wanting to monitor everything that OP does by continuously asking her questions, even to the point of contacting the OP's mother when the OP does not respond. OP finishes the post. Those were the most standout things he's done. Also a lot of pestering about tell me who your boyfriend is and trying to look at pictures in my phone to figure it out. Going through coworkers' phones and reading their conversations with me. One time he even cornered me at work and wouldn't let me leave until I told him what characteristics I look for in a guy. He was also mad at me when I got my birth control prescription filled, even though it was being used to correct hormonal problems from another birth control. I started being mean to him at work because I couldn't take it anymore. He then told me that I was treating him in that way because he's a nice guy who cares about me, and that I'm looking for a jerk. It became a very hostile work environment, and I left about 2 months ago. This is a side note. Other coworkers and neighbors hate him because he likes to start confrontations. He also plays he said, she said with people for entertainment. The neighbors have called the police on him and think he's crazy. I haven't heard from him at all since leaving, but I saw my former coworker last week at a get-together. She said that he is trying to get her to tell him where I work now. He told her that he sees me getting into my car every morning, so he knows I have a job. I told my mom about this and she didn't take it seriously. I would just like to get an outside perspective. When I come home late, I run to the door. And if no one's home, I'll wait to take a shower. I'm still scared. Redditors quickly commented on the post, informing OP that they were being stalked. User Tipsy Turtles replied, basically full-on stalking. Don't doubt your instincts at all. Guy's a piece of shit. Tara Leo 16 also commented on the post. I've been a pharmacy technician for 10 years now. I've run into a couple of odd pharmacists myself. Why did you not report his actions to the company? You could have filed a harassment complaint. Maybe contacted the board of pharmacy to check if they could do anything. He sounds like a complete stalker and you should have reported. To which the OP replied, I went back and forth on doing this, but I'm worried about retaliation, because if he loses his job or license, he'll know that it's due to me, and he'll still be my neighbor and could do something worse. Being the victim of a stalker is terrifying enough, but having your stalker living only a few houses down from you is a whole nother level. The fear of retaliation and the closeness of the stalker leaves the OP in a difficult position, and for 4 long years, we would not hear about the situation again. Until on October 27th of 2022, when we got a long-awaited update from the OP. Hi everyone. Here's an update from a post I made a few years ago about a scary neighbor. Last night I looked out the window and there were multiple police cars and an ambulance. I found out later that my neighbor married a young girl from the same country as him. She doesn't speak much English and doesn't have a family here. She's been here for a few months. He seldom let her leave the house and even go into the backyard. My other neighbors managed to catch her outdoors once or twice and managed to get her phone number. She said he has cameras all over the house and outside. Last night he was beating and accusing her of cheating, and the cops were called. After that, he shut off her phone service. Last night he attacked her with a knife and my neighbors heard her screaming, so they called the cops for her. Multiple guns and knives were found in the house. I'm going to cut this post short because I'm typing on a tablet with no keyboard, and it's getting cumbersome. After this update, we now know for sure that this man was displaying the signs of a controlling and abusive person. OP was correct in her decision to quit her job and distance herself from him, because there's no way of knowing what he could have or would have done if she stuck around. Reddit user MaxwellHill was a moderator of many huge subs including r/world news, r/politics, and r/technology. With almost 15 million post karma, this user was one of the most influential users on the platform. The last post was a news article uploaded to r/technology on June 30th of 2020, but since then, the account appears to be inactive. A user going inactive is nothing out of the ordinary, but this was one of the most powerful users on the site. To suddenly stop posting is a bit odd. Many Redditors took notice of the user's disappearance. After a bit of time, Redditors began to speculate as to who this user actually was, and on July 8th of 2020, Reddit user BGNY went onto the r/conspiracy subreddit claiming he knew who MaxwellHill was. Not confirmed, but research suggests that user MaxwellHill, the Reddit account with the 8th most linked karma of all time, power mod at the front page subs like r/world news and r/technology, and first account to reach 1 million karma, is/was operated by Ghislaine Maxwell. The user provides evidence to back up their claims, stating that the account posted every day for 14 years up until Maxwell's arrest. They pointed out the gaps in posting correlation lining up with the death of Maxwell's mother, also providing links to other potential stock accounts created around the same time. Ghislaine was arrested on July 2nd of 2020, and the last post on the account was on June 30th of the same year. This matches up, and the post also pointed out that the MaxwellHill account listed their birthday was in December. Ghislaine's birthday falls on December 25th. The post provides a lot more information, and I'll be linking it in the description if you want to look through it yourself. While we don't have solid evidence that the account was in fact Lizane's, the patterns are definitely there. Was one of the most influential Reddit accounts ran by one of the most evil people on the planet? It's very likely, but let me know what you think in the comments. MaxwellHill was the first account to ever reach 1 million karma. Could this have been a result of her underworld connections? We'll probably never get a clear answer, and it brings into question the true identities of those running the internet's biggest platforms. This post is now archived, but it was uploaded onto the r/legal advice sub on February 15th of 2015. User Concerned Hubs posted the following. Need advice on talking to police regarding my wife. My wife has not returned home since she went out shopping late Saturday. It's getting to the point where I think I should call the police and file a missing persons report. I would like to be as helpful as possible when speaking to the police, but I want to avoid triggering any suspicions about me. I hear a lot of stories about husbands being falsely accused when something happens. Should I only give them information in response to specific questions? Is there anything I should not bring up? I'm planning on contacting the police tomorrow morning. I can't postpone much longer as I'm getting messages asking about her, and I don't want to say anything to her friends or family until I file a report first. I now realize that I should have talked to her friends and family first, but at this point I don't want to explain why I didn't file a report yet. The post was very suspicious, and Redditors were understandably concerned. Many of them were claiming that the OP had actually killed his wife and was looking for advice on how to not look suspicious. User Divorce Throwaway commented, "You've got to be trolling here. The police can be overly suspicious in cases where the wife just completely disappears. Your priorities are completely out of whack, and the longer you wait to report her missing, the worse it's going to make you look. Your wife is missing, and your main concern is how it makes you look?" To which the OP replied with, "By being overly suspicious, I mean that the husband is automatically the first person to be suspected, even when there's no reason other than being her husband. This can easily lead the police to barking up the wrong tree and not looking where they should be. That's one of the reasons to avoid triggering suspicion, to prevent the police from wasting resources and going down the wrong path. So it's just not a selfish matter of what could happen to me. It is not my main concern. My main concern is getting my wife back home safe. My concern about avoiding suspicion is a secondary concern. It's not unreasonable to be both concerned about getting my wife home safe and secondarily wanting to avoid being falsely accused. There are a lot of innocent people who get convicted for acting stupid and saying the wrong thing to the police. Everybody in the comments seemed to believe that the OP had in fact killed his wife. And the OP would go back and forth with many users saying he attempted to contact her and that there was no foul play. In his last reply to one of the comments he said, "I'll be updating soon. Today's been both exhausting and enlightening. One thing I learned today is that the local cops are quite the idiots," implying that he had contacted the police and that they were no help. We never got any video or photo proof that his wife was alive and well, but the OP would provide a final update on his original post. Update. It turns out she left a note for me saying that she was leaving town for a while to spend time with an old friend, so there's no need to report her missing as of now. I'm going to have my wife's best friend make some calls to my wife's family and friends to let them know she's okay. After this, there were no more posts uploaded by this account, leaving Redditors to wonder if the update was true or just another lie to hopefully satisfy the users accusing OP of being suspicious. Do you think he did it? User Wifegonecrazy went onto the r/relationship sub on January 7th of 2016 with a post detailing the concerns about the behaviors his wife was displaying. He states that his wife has always been somewhat of a joker, and after binge watching all of Battlestar Galactica, pairs seemed to disagree on how they felt about the movies. OP liked them, but his wife did not. This led to his wife becoming mad, to which the OP wrote it off as her being fed up with being sick all week. The OP would go on a business trip the following morning, and when they returned, they stated that their wife was acting strange, not speaking to him in the mornings, except for handing him a brown lunch bag, where she said, "It's cold out there, better hoagie down." The OP states that she continued this behavior the following week, not speaking to him only except to say, "It's cold out there, better hoagie down," followed by her going into the bathroom and slamming the door. When OP would ask her about this in the evening, his wife repeatedly denied acting that way. In a further update, the OP said, "Woke up an hour ago with a huge headache. Went to the fridge to grab a protein smoothie and saw that it had been cleared of what little food we had in there. Wife was not in the house. Got dressed and went to the door with the intent of going to get some food. Saw a brown paper bag with, "It's cold out there, better hoagie down," written in cursive taped to the door. I opened the bag and a can of ginger ale was in there. I went outside and her car's still there, but as far as I can tell, she took her wallet, keys, and coat. We live about 5 minutes outside a nice town, and she likes to take long walks, so I'm assuming that's where she is. This has officially gone way too far. I'm going to wait an hour and see if she comes home or if her parents return my calls. If not, I'm driving to her parents to hopefully make sense of the situation. Bringing the video of her in the bag. We'll update tonight. Hopefully. Followed by, no sign of her. Got a call from her parents that was just sounds of them arguing in the background. Hung up after about 30 seconds. No idea what that's about. Driving there now. This is where the story takes a turn. In a second update, the OP provides more information as to what's going on with him and his wife. In the second post, the OP explains how he's been taking Benadryl to help him fall asleep at night. After searching for his Benadryl and being unable to find it, the OP decided to take some of his wife's Benadryl, not knowing that in her bottle was actually her old Seroquel medication. This is when everything unfolded. Back to where OP was heading to his wife's parents' home. He began to feel dizzy and had to pull over. When he got to his in-laws, he was erratic and sweating profusely. His wife's father came to the door followed by his wife, who informed the OP that she had actually been gone for 2 whole days. She told her husband that he had been terrorizing her and her daughter and provided videos that backed up the claims. In the videos, the OP was seen banging on doors and yelling at them to come out. Another showed him just standing still, looking into nothing. It was at this point that the OP began to feel nauseous and collapsed. When he woke up in the hospital, he learned that the Seroquel might have put him into a manic episode, and that his family could have a history of schizophrenia. The combination of drugs and the argument that had happened between him and his wife likely triggered a psychotic episode which the OP had no idea was going on. And just like that, the story of a man who had feared his wife was going crazy turned into the story of a person who was losing their mind themselves. Let me know what you think about these Reddit posts, and if you have anything that you want me to explore, make sure to leave it in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you for watching.